Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Why do people rewatch sad scenes? Why do we listen to depressing music when we're already hurting? Why do some people stay in toxic relationships even when they know it's destroying them? This isn't weakness, it's psychology. And once you understand it, you'll never look at pain the same way again. 1. Pain makes you feel alive. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. Pain proves you exist. When life feels empty, boring, or meaningless, suffering becomes stimulation. Your brain doesn't care whether the emotion is good or bad. It just wants intensity. That's why people chase drama. That's why chaos feels exciting. That's why calm can feel uncomfortable. The nervous system says, at least I feel something. And that's dangerous because once pain becomes your proof of life, peace feels like death. 2. The brain rewards emotional pain. This part is dark. When you experience emotional suffering, rejection, heartbreak, humiliation, your brain releases dopamine and endorphins, not because it enjoys hurting you, but because it's trying to help you survive. Your brain evolved to remember pain so you don't repeat mistakes, but modern life hacked that system. Now pain becomes familiar, and familiarity feels safe. That's why some people are addicted to sadness, not because they want to suffer, but because their brain learned to reward it. 3. Suffering gives people an identity. Pay attention to this. Some people don't know who they are without pain. They're not healing. They're not growing. They're suffering, and suffering becomes a personality. Victimhood becomes identity. Struggle becomes status. Pain becomes proof of depth. Because if you let go of suffering, you have to face the scarier question, who am I without my pain? For many people, that question feels more terrifying than the pain itself. 4. Control through self-punishment. Here's a brutal truth. When life feels out of control, people punish themselves. Why? Because choosing pain feels like control. Think about it. Staying in toxic environments, replaying past mistakes, sabotaging happiness, refusing forgiveness. All of it sends one message to the brain. At least I'm in charge of my suffering. It's twisted, but it works. Self-sabotage feels safer than uncertainty. 5. The comfort of predictable pain. Your brain prefers a known hell over an unknown heaven. Let that sink in. Even if pain is exhausting, even if it's slowly destroying you, if it's predictable, your brain relaxes. Healing requires uncertainty. Growth requires risk. Peace requires letting go of control. And the brain hates that. So it whispers, stay where you are. It hurts, but it's familiar. 6. Why we romanticize suffering. Movies do it. Music does it. Social media does it. We glorify pain. We call it depth. We call it strength. We call it character development. And yes, pain can teach you. But here's the manipulation. We confuse suffering with meaning. Pain doesn't make you special. Awareness does. Healing does. Growth does. But suffering looks dramatic. Healing looks boring. And humans love drama. 7. When pain becomes comfort. This is where it gets dangerous. When suffering lasts too long, your nervous system adjusts. Stress becomes baseline. Anxiety becomes normal. Chaos becomes home. Peace feels suspicious. Joy feels temporary. Stability feels wrong. And that's when people say things like, I don't feel like myself anymore, because their self was built in pain. 8. The escape from this trap. So how do you break free? Not by thinking positive, not by pretending pain doesn't exist. You break free by outgrowing the version of you that needed pain to feel alive. You learn to tolerate peace. You learn to sit with calm. You learn that boredom isn't emptiness, it's safety. You stop asking, why am I suffering? And start asking, what part of me is still attached to this pain? Because awareness is the opposite of addiction. 9. Final truth. Here's the final truth most people never hear. You don't enjoy suffering. You enjoy what suffering gives you. Identity, control, intensity, familiarity. But once you find healthier ways to get those things, pain loses its power, and peace stops feeling scary. If this hit uncomfortably close, that means it worked. Stay aware, stay honest, and remember, healing feels unfamiliar before it feels good. Thanks for watching, and if you want more deep Psychology Explained Honestly, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications bell so you don't miss what your mind is hiding from you. See you in the next one.